Erin just dropped me off. She's heading out of town. I'm gonna camp in Marathon tonight on the top of a mountain through a snowstorm in a Quinzee. This is a special place called Pebble Beach, full of boulders, rocks, pebbles, and of course, all of this iconic driftwood of the world's biggest lake. The lake's a little choppy right now with winds of 15 kilometers an hour from the south. But tonight it's getting up to 40 to 60 kilometers an hour. And of course, when we get south winds here, that brings snow. So we're expecting quite a bit of snow tonight as well. So I better build that Quinzee good or it's gonna be a rough night. Looks like a pair of coyote tracks here in the snow. It's just a bushwhack to get up this mountain, but I'm following their trail for now. This hill is just infested with dogwood and alder. It's gonna be a slog to get it up here. This is nice. This is what I'm looking for. Are natural clearings like this. I'm really not into backpacking because I have a canoe and sleds in the winter, but can't take a sled through this. But you backpackers, you have it rough. All your stuff's on your back all the time. You're basically just portaging all the time, which is the worst part of paddling. I am also not accustomed to counting grams. If something has a difference of pounds, I might think about the weight, but grams, ounces are meaningless to me as a paddler, really. And this hill must have 1,000 hairs on it. There are tracks everywhere. Almost there, I think. The cool thing about this Terion tripod is one of the legs will unscrew to give you a walking stick. There's home, Marathon, Ontario. And despite that I'm so close to home, I know there's no chance of me seeing anyone up here. I'm sure no one hikes this. And I think I'm at the top and there's something here. It's an old little tower, small. Maybe it's for communications or weather. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure I'm at the top here. Beautiful. The work is far from done now. I've got to dig Quinzee, make a big pile of snow, wait 2 hours for it to sinter, and then dig it out. Gonna have a nice little snack first and find somewhere to set up a home. Given that this is a backpacking trip, I've only brought the bare essentials for food and drink. 1 bag of jalapeno and cheddar Doritos. 1 bag Zesty. 4 raspberry turnovers. 2 pieces of cold Pizza Hut from last night. Some chocolate. Scotch, single malt. And mint tea. And there's a nice little spot right there for me to make my little hobbit hole. Now that I've got a wholesome meal of Doritos in my belly, I'm feeling rejuvenated and ready to work. Because I had to backpack, I had to bring one of these stupid little telescopic shovels. This one's from Costco, and it is a real piece of crap. I really don't like it. The little tabs that come out to hold it in place don't stay in place, so it's really ineffective, but it's gonna have to work. I've got about 4 hours of daylight left. This needs to sit for 2 hours after I dig it, so I gotta get to work right away. It's not much yet, but I've stomped down the ground first, and I'm starting a little pile here. I'm having to throw some grasses in it that are growing here under this, that did grow here in the summer. I'm hoping that's not an issue at all. This is only the second Quinzee I've ever built. The first was with Erin last winter, and she's rather concerned about me doing this alone because if the Quinzee collapses while I'm digging it out, I could be trapped. So I'll have to be really careful. If I let it sinter for 2 hours, it should be stable enough so that shouldn't be an issue, and I'll try to give myself an escape as best I can. I'm sure it'll be fine. The last one we built seemed rock solid, so should be good. In addition to the grass that I'm piling on, there are also some rabbit turds, which I'm trying to filter out so I don't have a home of feces. The nice thing about this little shovel is I'm not overexerting myself with huge loads of snow. Just kneel down and can easily one-hand it over there, so it's not the worst tool in the end, especially given the size and weight penalty being so limited. Starting to get there. This is a great item to have in the car, not only if your car goes off the road and you need to dig yourself out a little bit, but if you are seriously stuck, let's say there's a blizzard, no one can come get you, and you have to last the night when it's minus 20, minus 30, minus 40, this building a little snow cave could be what saves you. Snow is so insulating. It's so much warmer in there when it's cold out. And it's also super quiet in there, which is a really interesting experience. It's like a quiet room. There's just no noise making it through. Last winter when Erin and I did this, if she was inside the Quinzee and I was outside and yelled pretty much as loud as I could, she could barely hear me. It was extremely muffled. Flurries are starting to come down here, and that's getting me thinking about another safety issue, which is if a few inches of snow fall on the Quinzee, is that weight going to impact its structural integrity? So feeling a little nervous about this tonight, but I'm going to do it, and I believe it'll be fine. I now have to come out here to get snow, and it's greatly slowing things down. It's so much faster when I can just shovel, shovel, shovel. Now I'm spending most of my time walking. And the wind is really picking up, so I can't even throw it far. Had to come back and have a look. The sun's breaking through the clouds a bit. really glad I set up leeward because it is brutally cold here in the wind. Especially because I'm down to one layer just to try not to sweat while I'm doing this. Gotta get right back to it though because I'm running out of time. Well, that's it. That has to be it. Otherwise I'll be excavating it in the dark. Now I'm just making 1 foot sticks that I can poke through the Quinzee, and when I dig it out I'll know if I'm getting within 1 foot of the outside of it, and that's how thick you want the walls to be, is 1 foot. I'm gonna let this sit for the minimum, which is 90 minutes. It's gonna have to do today. Here's a nice birch for fire starter. Lots of scrappy, nice stuff. Only taking the loose stuff, nothing else. Oh yeah. I'm gonna process some firewood here, and normally at this point I'd take a seat on the snow and my snow pants would eventually soak through and I'd get a wet butt. But our friend Kevin sent us two of these awesome little foam seats. Rob, I know you've been touting this for a while too. So now I don't have to. And not only will it keep my butt dry, but the foam is insulating, so I'll be warmer as well. Kevin, I just want to thank you so much for the care package you sent us with some amazing stuff. Kevin's a viewer and he sent us a super nice care package, extremely thoughtful. Really awesome stuff in it, some tackle, and he's sharing his Crave login, which allowed us to watch the last season of Game of Thrones, and now we're on to The Wire. Thanks Kevin, thank you so much. I only brought a liter of water up here, which I already wish I could have chugged. I'm super thirsty, so I'm going to boil up some water, and I'm going to save a bit of this water to pour into the boiled snow, because that's all I have up here. There's no source of water. I've always wanted to camp on a mountaintop, but that's such a disadvantage to be away from water that I've never done it for practical reasons. And I bet there are people in like the Rockies, the Alps, the Andes, the Himalayas watching this and being like, that's not a mountain, silly boy. Well, it is here. I can see a long way from here, therefore it's a mountain. And I'll be able to explore it more tomorrow, but today, just lots of work to do. I gotta boil this water, and as soon as I'm done that, it'll be time to dig out the cave. Alright, it's time to dig. I got an hour of daylight left, and I'm wearing a rain jacket because Erin did most of the excavating last time, and she got soaked and then she got really cold. So I'm hoping I can not get super wet with the rain jacket, stopping the snow from kind of going down my back and all that. And then I've got dry clothes ready to hop into as soon as I'm done. It's feeling kind of small right now. Slightly concerned about it. Oh, and I forgot to put in my sticks. Honestly, don't think this is going to be big enough. I'm really not sure. I got to excavate the snow and I got to clear it from the entrance. It was really nice having a two-person system to do this. And I'm just throwing it around the edges. I'm not throwing it on top. That could potentially weaken it or crush it. I built my entrance on the downslope side, because you want your entrance to be lower than your main platform so that your heat is staying in, your cool air is falling down that entrance. Needless to say, this is unnerving. I don't recommend doing this alone. I really, this is a two-person activity. I think I'm at the end. Last time we didn't use sticks, we just used light. You can see a hole here where I pulled a stick out. And you want some air holes. You always want to ventilate any shelters to some degree. And I'm starting to see light, and last time that was a perfectly fine indicator, but this time I used sticks because there wasn't as much light. Now it's a matter of, do I want to sleep in here? And the answer is yes, because it's either that or sleep out in the elements in a snowstorm. But it's a little claustrophobic in here. I much prefer making it too big to making it too small. But of course that wasn't an option this time. So I've decided I'm gonna abandon this camp. I don't want to spend the next 15 hours of darkness in this snow coffin. It's not big enough. I feel pretty claustrophobic in there. I'd honestly rather walk through the forest back home in the dark, which it's going to be dark pretty soon. It's after 5 o'clock now. It's just not worth the risk. I cut it too shallow in some parts in my rush. I went less than a foot in several places. I went past the stick markers, so I just don't trust it to hold up against heavy snow. I had a nice day out here. There's no reason to take the risk. Erin was worried about me doing this, and I don't want to make her have a reason to worry, so I'm just gonna head home, put out my fire here. Got a pretty raging headache too, so just gonna go home. There's lots of undue risk taken out there for the sake of footage. Heck, I'm accused of it once in a while too, and I'd rather just set an example that it's okay to bail, and I don't want to set the example that solo Quinzeeing is a good idea. I don't think it's a good idea. So sorry, but I gotta look out for myself and for Erin. Bushwhacking back to town, this is gonna be a barrel of laughs. This wind is brutal. Can't talk. It's going down my throat. But I know I'll get there. That's the main thing. Trying to follow my own tracks here. It was a reasonable path. Made it back to the lake. The wind and the waves are just raging. Funny thing is, I was stuck at home this morning for 2 hours because I had something stuck in my eye. I actually thought I scratched my cornea, so if I had had those 2 more hours, probably would have been fine. Almost home. Oh. Oh, hi Tui. One more thing I was going to show tonight is that for the first time I used a vapor barrier in my boot, which apparently just slid off. But I had this wrapped around my foot, like so, and then put it into my boot to keep all the sweat out of my boot. And my boot feels quite dry inside. So I think there is some merit to that. I've never done it because I found it weird. Some people swear by it, but it seems to work.
Goal for Toronto.